it's just competitive out there. No one really likes to support each other. I see it a lot in, my realm. It's just how groups work. Someone wants to get paid, right? So they get a little competitive as far as like, oh, I
Right.
feel like I'm a little too better for you.
How's it going? I am your host, Enrique. Welcome back to another episode. You are watching the XR Space. And today we have an awesome guest, photographer, videographer, director, CEO of Dreambox, right? Thank you so much for coming on the show, Kev.
Man, I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had talked a little bit earlier. You mentioned you started off with weddings and stuff like that, right? And now
Yeah.
you're in the music scene. Can you tell us a
Exactly.
little bit about what you do and, what your line of work entails?
Yeah, of course. So, in the beginning, I thought it was just going to be something as simple as just the traditional route, right? The weddings and birthdays and events and stuff like that. However, the scene that I got in was the music scene, and it was especially predominant here in Chicago and like the group rules and the bandas. So I went to those events and I started recording for the groups and basically trying to promote myself. Hey, I also do music videos. See where it went with that. People started hitting me up and actually started working from there. And then all of a sudden, I started partnering up with my guy, DNR Music. And now we became Dreambox, a label and a music production company. So essentially, it's been a crazy year and we'll just see where it goes from now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shout out to your boy, DNR.
DNR,
Yeah.
Ruben, Opa Ruben, I'll see you later.
Yeah. No, yeah, dude. I'm so grateful that you're on the show. From weddings to music videos to concerts, what are some of the most memorable projects for you? And what stands out, and what project do you hold near and dear to your heart?
I want to say probably. I mean, there was obviously a lot of big names that I've worked with. However, it had to be my first ever big artist, and it was Luis Eric Enriquez. And it was crazy because 3 weeks prior is when I had just picked up the camera. I got the camera off offer for $400. It was a Sony A7 II. Got it for $400. And then I got me a 50 millimeter lens, 1.4, with just one. And then I went to the parties with it. And the first video I did is still on my page. And it was January 2023. And that video hit like 15K in views. And it was my first video I've ever edited and dropped. And I was like, oh my God, people are liking it. And I was like, maybe there's something with the grupos and like the fans that are out here that helps out the shares and yada, yada, yada. 2 weeks later, I shoot my shot in someone's DMs, a videographer. I was like, hey, check out this video. Is there some way I could come into this event? And he replied. And his name is Vito. Shout out Vito.
Shout out Vito.
And Vito was like, man, slide through. I pulled up. And then when I got there, I was right behind, Luis Eric Enriquez. And he's basically his stage manager. He takes care of everything for him. So he gave me the opportunity. And I was like, my first time ever being at a concert like that, because I don't really listen to that type of music, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not my preferred choice. And in the beginning, now it's all I listen to, right? So when I was on stage and just being in front of, thousands of people, flashing lights, and seeing that it was like the exclusivity part of it was real. And I was just like, dang, I'm actually doing something with just this $400 camera. And from there, that was probably the most memorable time, just because from there, 2 weeks prior, everything started taking off as far as the artists and events and things like that.
That's amazing, dude. Congratulations
Thank you.
to your prior success. And here's to another year of great success in 2024. What would you say is the driving force, not just back then, but now? What is the driving force to what you do or why you do what you do? Is it money? Is it someone in particular? Or is it a form of self-expression for you?
I think goes like in two ways. One way being I have a son. My son, Damien, he's 2 years old. And unfortunately, I'm not with my baby mama, right? So me and her, we're just doing our things. But he's he's very happy, yada, yada, yada. And I've always felt bad that I gave him a broken home. And I went into a depression, and then when that had happened, that's when I started picking up the camera again, and then I told myself that, that if what would be the best example that I could show my kid, and I was like, I think it would be the opportunity to show him that, if you just gave it all on whatever your dream is, like, it could come true. So I gave up everything that I was doing. I was popping out. I was actually pumping out uh what is it? Porta potties. And
Okay.
that was my prior job. I was
Mhm.
pumping out porta potties. So I quit that day, and then that's when I started, producing myself as a photographer just for the sake of my son. And then now being able to bring him backstage, to some of these events and just like showing him this different side to life. I just want to continue to show that for him, and that's what Dreambox is about.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. Can you before I jump into the next
Mhm,
question, can
mhm.
you go in a little bit more behind Dreambox?
Yeah, so me and my compa Ruben, he basically showed me the way of the grupos and the bandas, right? He himself is a recording engineer, so everybody goes to him to record the live music, make songs with him, yada yada yada. He's amazing what he does. And so basically, he had told me, he's like, "Hey man, I really love your videos. I really love your work ethic. Is there any way possible, you think that me and you could do something together?" I was like, "You know what? That's a dope idea, right? Because there's only one other big like label that I could think of, like, that's not here in Chicago, which is like Rancho Humilde, and that's like a big like artist label where obviously you get signed with them and you could become an overnight celebrity, type thing. And we want to be that here in Dreambox, right? So he was like, we could be as big as those guys. We know how to do graphic design. We do logos, pictures, we do everything. And we're like, why not, me and you partner up and see what could happen. So essentially, we both saw the same dream. I was texting him and I was just like, hey, what do you think of this Dreambox idea? He's like, not gonna lie, that's sticking with me. I was like, well, let's run with it. So about 7 months later, this is what we're doing.
Congratulations. Where
Thank
can
you.
we find Dreambox? Where are you guys located?
So currently we're up on north side of Chicago. Exact location, just hit me up because I got to bring you in type
Okay.
thing. Yeah. So
Shh.
exactly.
It's a
It's a little
secret. It's a
exclusive.
secret.
It's a little
Yeah,
exclusive, but
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's awesome. Before we jump into the next segment, what are some of the misconceptions that people have about our industry, or more in particular yours, being a videographer, doing music videos and concerts for bandas, and people who want to get into that field? What are some of those misconceptions? And do you have any advice for them?
I feel like one of them is like just valuing your work. I mean, there comes a time where you do have to start charging, like obviously artists for things, and a lot of people were afraid to do that, right? Ask for a little bit of money because obviously you're putting in hours of work of whatever you're producing for them and yada yada yada. And so I've always done things for free in the beginning, and then it just always bit me back, in the sense that like when I did need to buy or upgrade my gear, I unfortunately didn't have the funds for it, right? So if I really wanted to invest myself, I also have to pay myself. So essentially, that's what kind of helped me to be like, okay, I'm taking this full time type thing. And I think another one too is just like being being in the like. Can you ask me that question again? I kind of lost
The
the train.
misconceptions. What misconceptions do people have about your line of work?
Yeah. So
What do people get wrong or mixed up?
and then a lot of times too, they think that and this is like for a lot of people to know, like they think I have all access, like type thing, that like the artists are like remembering me,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like unfortunately, like I doubt a lot of them are like, hey, I know your name, but they do recognize me. And people always think that like, oh bro, why don't you hook me up with, getting backstage or whatever? Let me be your, backup cameraman and stuff like that. Like I try to bring you in, but it's like if I burn that bridge with somebody, then I'll never be able to go back and
Right.
work with them. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that has happened.
Yeah.
I brought somebody and they got a little too lit. And it
No.
burned a bridge, but fortunately, it opened up way more bridges.
Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate,
No,
man.
yeah, it is what it is.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in the scene. Like, it's a
Yeah.
lot of drinking, obviously. Like, you
Mm,
got to be able to handle yourself.
yeah.
Group
Yeah.
pulls bandanas is what they do.
Right. And one thing is having like a press pass or media pass, and
Mhm.
another thing is having all access pass.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah.
And people
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, to be fortunate enough to go back there and not act right. Come on,
That's
man.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
disheartening.
and it's not like he like went in with the intentions of it. It's just when you're with those type of people, obviously they like to party before they go on stage and perform. So
Yeah.
you just gotta know how to handle yourself.
That's
it,
true.
you
Yeah.
know?
No, absolutely. Well, I'm glad that we got to go and deep dive a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how long have you been doing this for?
What's crazy? So I've had this interest. I've been doing it for 3 years, like total, but I haven't taken it serious. Like, left my job at since like a year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So January 2023 was my first. Like, I'm just gonna do it.
Congrats, man.
Yeah,
That's
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Now we're going to jump into our second segment called Spray and Pray. Are you familiar with the term?
No.
Spray and Pray. It's
Spray and pray.
one that we used in the industry, photographers, videographers, primarily photographers, where a photographer presses a button, holds it, sprays a bunch of images, praying that you get the shot.
Spray
and pray. Spray
I
and
do
pray.
that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Not good advice. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Be intentional with your shots.
Literally.
But in this next segment, Spray and Pray, I'm going to be spraying a bunch of questions at you while you're praying to get these edits done.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 3 photos. You have 2 choices, Lightroom or Photoshop, whichever one you want.
Okay.
And then in each software, you're going to see the 3 images. I'll give you a second to review the 3 images. And from those 3 images, just choose the one. And once you have it chosen, I'll go ahead and get a 3-minute timer started. Okay?
Okay.
Within those 3 minutes, I'm going to spray this or that questions at you, and you got to finish the edit in 3 minutes.
So I'm editing this picture.
Yeah, one of the 3.
Okay, one of the 3.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to choose. Let me know when you're ready.
Is this the Lightroom Classic?
Yes, sir.
Jeez, I got that new one. I got the updated one.
I've noticed, and it's funny you mentioned you use the other Lightroom. A lot of people tell me that they don't use Classic as much as they do the cloud-based Lightroom. But you have the photo chosen?
Yes.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. 3 minutes start now. All righty. Let's get into the first one. Reading or audiobooks?
Audiobooks, definitely.
Audiobooks? Okay. Next one. Music or podcasts?
Music.
Music? Okay.
Yeah.
Next one. Movies or series?
Movies.
Next. Headphones or earbuds?
Earbuds.
Okay. iPhone or Android?
Definitely iPhone.
He said definitely.
Yeah,
you couldn't just say iPhone. You had to say
I gotta
definitely.
fix my iPhone though.
Okay. Laptop or tablet?
Laptop.
PC or Mac?
I have a Mac.
You have a Mac.
Yeah.
Okay. Urban or suburban?
Urban.
Okay. Next one. Sony or Canon?
Sony.
Next one. Nikon or Fuji?
I guess Fuji.
Fuji?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Next one. Flash or continuous?
Continuous.
Continuous? Okay. Minute 30 seconds. Gimbal or handheld?
Gimbal, definitely gimbal.
You had to think about that one.
Definitely gimbal.
Capture One or Lightroom?
Lightroom.
Lightroom.
Yeah.
Next one. Premiere or DaVinci?
Premiere.
Premiere.
Da Vinci's a beast.
DaVinci
I gotta
is a
learn
beast.
that. I'm still learning that.
Next one. TikTok or Instagram?
Definitely Instagram.
Next one, Twitter or Reddit?
Twitter.
Twitter. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You got a minute left. Next one, film or digital?
Digital.
Digital. Next one, studio or on location?
Or on location? Studio.
Studio?
Yeah.
Okay. Studio is like when you go to the place and shoot.
Yeah.
Like studio?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Next one, short form or long form content?
Short form.
Short form. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Next one, pre-production or post-production?
Post-production.
You like post-production?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got 20 seconds. Last one, photo or video?
It's got to be video.
Video.
Yeah, it's got to be video.
Okay. You got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. Alrighty. Before we get into why you chose, what you chose in Spray and Pray, can you tell us which images you chose? Or which image you chose? I'm sorry.
So I chose the first one. Want me to show you?
No, I know which one.
okay,
And
okay.
I did forget in Spray and Pray, I typically showcase. These are the 3 images that he had edited. And you chose the skydiving one.
Yeah.
Or not skydiving.
Or, yeah,
not skydiving.
I
I'm
was
so
gonna say,
sorry. Crowd diving.
Crowd diving.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you chose that one.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that one and what edits did you make?
Typically when I shoot my shots, I like to involve the fans. I like to show, like, if I'm taking a picture, I like to show as much as energy as possible. Like, it's dope to take pictures of the artists themselves, but with them engaging with the fans is they're most likely to repost it and, do things like that. Just because, like, if you think about it, like, okay, you could have like 1,000 pictures of yourself look good, but how many pictures is it like, is there out there, like you standing in front of thousands of people? Just like,
Right.
if you could take that one good picture, like,
Right.
it just looks like you're doing something.
Yeah.
So,
well, pro tip for all of you out there, if you're looking to do concert photography, you heard it here first from ACAB. If you want the likelihood of them reposting your stuff, making sure that they are getting an image of them interacting with the crowd. That's really good advice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for participating in the edit. Now, really quick, before we move on to the next segment, we're going to go over the before and after, and then why you chose the this or that. So for all of you, this is his edit. This is before, and this is after. Before and after. Wow. That's a really good edit. I really like that.
It was all right just because I didn't mask anything. If I put it,
you're gonna mask. Oh, okay,
if I were
cool.
to, it's just because I didn't know where the masking was on that thing.
Oh
yeah, because I got the other Lightroom.
You get the other Lightroom,
Yeah, the
right,
other
right. Not the
one,
classic.
I would've been
not the classic.
quick.
Right. Really quick before we move on to the next segment, you chose music over podcast. Is there any artist right now that you're listening to heavily that you want to recommend to the audience? Anyone that you got on repeat?
Besides showing love to Chicago, my boys Los de la Isla, those guys are snapping right now. Those guys are getting a lot of views. We're talking to already a couple people that are interested in different parts of the country, obviously. So we'll see what happens with them. But artists that are popping right now, definitely Javi, Xavi is his name. He dropped a song La Diabla. That song is fire.
Yeah,
that song is fire.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what genre are you listening to?
Right now it's that type of Sereno grupo stuff. Like I'm just stuck in that because that's how I'm making my bread and butter. So
yeah. You chose Instagram over TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
You got almost 18,000 followers.
So close,
dude. You're right there, dude. Congrats on building the following,
Thank you.
It's well deserved with your line of work.
Thank you.
And then last one, you chose video over photo.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Photos can only say so much, right? And the video could express so much feeling and emotions and stuff like that. And I feel like that's why, I chose that because I'm all about being able to grab your attention within the couple seconds. That's why I also choose short form content.
Okay.
I really like to be able to grab your attention in the first 5 seconds. So if I'm able to do that, then I think, the video outcome
Yeah.
would be okay.
No,
You know?
yeah. In the last episode, when I was talking to our previous guest, shout out to AJ. I was telling him, yeah, it takes some real skill to be able to evoke emotion, to get a message across, or to sell a product or service in such a short
Trust
amount
me.
of time.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
takes a real skill. But it's very interesting. Thank you so much for participating in Spray and Pray. Our next segment is called Questions about the Creative Community in Chicago. I wanted to, with the base of this show and the studio, is to continue to help solidify, build, and grow in a really healthy way a community of creatives. Is there any community that you associate with most?
What do you mean by that? Like community,
Like the DJ community,
Oh,
Latino
okay, okay.
community, photography community, videography community. Obviously, there's so many communities, and even sub communities within like photography, for instance.
Yeah.
There's car photographers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Concert photographers, landscape photographers. So what, and it doesn't have to be photography. It could be something like the Latino community. Which community do you associate with most?
I think right now is that Grupo Banda music in Chicago. Like in Chicago, it's so relevant up there. Like there's always someone playing every day, and like the ambience and like the how it feels to be there. Like it just feels so homey. Everyone's having fun, and up there, like that's just where it's at. That's kind of where I started, and I'm kind of like stuck around there. And because essentially the plan is to put Chicago on the map as far as the music and stuff like that. So if I'm able to be that first person to be like, hey, there's attention over there in Chicago. They got good music. With my boy DNR, that's the dream. So we'll see what happens.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I love that goal. That's why I want to invite people who have similar goals to ours, right? Likewise, I am in the community of like runway and fashion photography. Oh. And although we are a small community, it feels similar, like homies. We know each other. Exactly. It's always a good time with designers, models, vendors, and stuff like that. And I mean, anyone knows as well as I do that, Chicago isn't really considered one of those fashion capitals. It's always definitely New York, London, Paris, LA, or Miami. Even Miami, exactly. Not Chicago. So likewise, I would like to continue to put Chicago on the map. Like, hey, we're here,
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I love that we have similar goals like that. How involved would you say you are with your community of creatives in Chicago?
As far as creatives, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know many besides like the people who put me on, because before I obviously was mentoring people, and so shout them out too. I'll take media, film, RT films. They're just guys that were in the Grupo and Banda music video realm before me, and I shadowed those guys and basically learned everything from different people and build my own brand and stuff like that. So I think it's very minimal because I don't really know any photographers or videographers outside of that
community.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Do you have anyone in particular that you would like to work with or collaborate with?
Definitely down in California. So Rancho Mille, again, it's a label out there, and Lalo the Giant, he's the creative director and for Rancho Mille, and his videos are so good. Like they're just eventually videos I hope I get to shoot, so he's a big role model for me and inspiration.
Nice. That's very nice. Have you ever attended any like networking events, any meetings, any like Instagram meetups here in Chicago?
Honestly, no. I've never gone to like my page just started blowing up recently, like within the past couple month or two. I went from like 5,000 to what I am now because of the several videos I've been producing, and then so I don't really go out to things like that. If it's not really in the realm of music right now, it's kind of something I probably won't go to, or I just don't know many people.
Right.
You
Is
know,
there anything that would entice you to go to Instagram meetups or networking events for photographers?
I mean, I would love to if I heard about it.
Mm.
I've never heard about it. It's my first time hearing about it.
Okay.
That there is those things. You know,
Yeah.
I just don't hear about them in Chicago or anything like that. You know,
Right. No, and likewise, I mean, or similarly, you are what you consume.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
So on Instagram, if you're consuming nothing but bandas, grupos, concerts, and that's what you're pushing out too. Obviously, the algorithm is going to be pushing that kind of stuff out.
Exactly. Yeah.
The reason why I am familiar with it is because my career, it didn't just start off with fashion. You know,
Yeah.
I did in high school a little bit of wildlife. I did some family and friends. You know, and then I got really into street photography.
Okay.
For me, I'm like an artist at heart.
No,
I
definitely.
love street photography, and that's actually how I found Instagram meetups and stuff like that.
Oh,
And then
really?
it wasn't until I got more involved into that I found that there's networking events. So yeah, I highly suggest to going to one because you get to network. You'd be surprised, you know, there'd be a fashion photographer that is being asked to do a concert, and they're like, "Well, I don't really do concert." That's where you come in.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Exactly. Definitely.
I was always told, you know, do not network yourself with other photographers doing the same thing you're doing. And I do not believe in that one bit.
Yeah,
I definitely want to surround myself with like-minded people who do video and photos because, you know, they could be a lending hand, you know, they can help, they can uplift you, they can, you know, share ideas and inspire one another, right? And I definitely will 1000% continue to network with people like me because I know it's just helping to further build that community.
Yeah, definitely,
right?
definitely.
Do you have any ideas or suggestions on how we can continue to grow or build a healthier creative community in Chicago?
I feel like to answer that, it's we just there. I feel like there's a lot of tension between each other for some reason. It's just like very competitive here. You know, it's hard for people to just click the share button, right? Like you got all these thousands of followers, and you know you're feeling some type of way because only 30 of them shared. You know, like that happens. However, you would expect more because there's a lot of people in your DMs texting you, "Hey, you know what's the move for this weekend or whatever." You know, like, "Hey, can you share my thing real quick, bro?" Like, you know. Unfortunately, I see that a lot. It's a lot of like it's just competitive out there. No one really likes to support each other. I see it a lot in, you know, my realm. It's just how grupos work. They're obviously someone wants to get paid, right? So they get a little competitive as far as like, oh, I feel like I'm a little too better for you, yada yada yada. Same thing goes for what we do too.
Yeah, no, there could be egos involved and you know self-esteem, but I definitely believe in helping each other, you know, and I've felt that same sort of standoffish with other creatives, not just photographers or videographers. Whether it's they believe that they're on a higher status or it's simply like I'm in my own lane, I'm doing my own thing. And I've spoke about this on the podcast. It's completely fine. You know, we should have our own identity as an artist, you know, but at the same time, as an artist, we should be contributing to each other. Spreading love, ideas, and inspiration to
each other.
Creatives, right, alike, you know. But thank you again for being on the show. I'm so happy that I could get you on here. Right now, as we close out, is there any projects that you got going on now or ahead? Where can people find you?
So you can follow me on Instagram, shop at ACAB, and our page as well, Dreambox. All I want to say is remember the name, Dreambox. I'm just saying things are about to happen. I'm really excited for this year. Last year was crazy. This year, I could only imagine what's gonna happen. The plans being is we have a studio now in Chicago, recording studio. So we actually will have 2 studios. We're planning to get a third this year too. So we'll see what happens. We're trying to go all across Chicago, so that way groups could be like, there's a practice spot and a recording spot in the north side, south side, and in Plainfield. So we just want to be very diverse. And with that, you know, I'm just grateful for every opportunity that came to me, and again, Dreambox. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
And thank you again for having me.
No, yeah, absolutely. And thank all of you for watching today's episode. If you guys have any ideas, any suggestions on how we can grow our community of creatives in Chicago in a healthy and inspiring way, let us know in the comments. Or if you want to be on the show, go ahead and send us a message and then we can get you scheduled in. But thank you, ACAB, for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the invite.
No problem. We'll catch you in the next one.